Hey everybody, this is the ProGent here. I figured that I could spice up things with a different show every now and again in between my anime reviews, considering I have a wide swath of time to really pick up some extra material. So, for now, I figured I would do this little review of movies I go see over the weekend if I end up going to the movies. And so I'm just going to go with that. And I will be calling this, what's something stupid fancy? Opera glasses. There we go. So for today, I went to see It this weekend. And this was absolutely fantastic. I am a big fan of this book. This is one of my favorite books. Stephen King is a personal favorite author. And seeing the book finally done proper justice was the biggest thing I wanted out of this movie. The 1990 miniseries attempted this, and with a mixture of a bit of poor casting and a lot of really bad translation of character onto television, I guess that would be the best way to describe it. Not to mention working with television ratings. You can't show extensive gore or anything on to that degree, especially in the 90s. On TV, it really took out a lot of the meat of the plot, and the plot really boils down to: you have the Losers Club, 7 kids who are dealing with problems in their town that all seem to stem from this cosmic eldritch super monster they just call It. And it takes the form of whatever they're most afraid of. But that's not the only thing that you need to be afraid of when you see this movie, because Pennywise isn't necessarily the biggest monster in this movie. You have adults who are basically throwing away any chance for these kids to be safe, and you have bullies that, obviously with Stephen King, stream on the homicidal. And because of this, there are so many more things to fear than just the embodiment of fear itself. There's genuine threats to these kids' lives that you see and can happen anywhere. And that's where a lot of the fear in this movie comes from, not from the killer clown or whatever guise he takes on. Which takes me to my next point. Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise was phenomenal. This guy is great. He's like 6'4". He's lanky. He was built for the part. The costume design was fantastic for him, and he really embodied this maniacal creature that was able to lure in children to feast on their fear. And I think that was an excellent performance done by him. And obviously the real winners of the cast are the kids as well. Particularly, and my personal favorite being Finn Wolfhard of Stranger Things, who has become a little bit of a fan favorite of my own choosing. And his take on Richard Tozier, the wisecracking member of the group, really brought a lot of laughs to a movie that had a good mixture of humor and scares. And it really felt balanced when he was in the scenes. I heard a lot of people saying that the movie didn't really know what to do with itself, because it does tend to do a little tightrope dance between a scary movie, a funny movie, a teen romance movie. And it was a balancing act for a lot of this. But I think that it did it pretty well. It gave enough screen time for each to give enough emphasis on each point. The settings were also really good. Everything in terms of set design really brought Derry, Maine to life. the sewers particularly really coil and leave these kids in just this labyrinthine darkness that the climax of the movie really drives home, and its lair is just filled with all these knickknacks and anything that you can imagine from centuries of just collecting, and all these other kids just floating around in its den really made an emphasis on, like, holy shit, this thing is just absolutely going to kill you. And of course the soundtrack, late 80s for songs that they used. And the original score was also very well put together. I really look forward to seeing part 2 of this. I want to see who they cast for the adults. I think that that's going to be the biggest hurdle that they go with for this upcoming part 2, which is pretty much guaranteed considering that it was the biggest horror opening box office of all time, and almost the biggest R-rated film of all time, if not for Deadpool. But that aside, I have a genuine love for this movie. It actually beat out a couple other movies for my personal favorite of the year, namely Logan, actually, and I was surprised that I liked this more, but it hit a few more notes that really drove my love for the story. And I think that's about all I could say about it for now, and here's hoping that part 2 comes out sooner rather than later, and it's well cast, and we get to see more Bill Skarsgård just having a ball. Thanks for coming to listen, and if you like how this little review goes, leave a like and a comment. Just tell me if you want to keep this show alive. Whenever I go see a new movie over a weekend or something, I'll try and get one of these short videos out, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.